morning. It's October 30th, and our daily lectionary reading comes from Psalm 107, verses 1 through 7. Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his steadfast love endures forever. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so, those who redeemed from trouble and gathered in from the lands, from the east and from the west, from the north and from the south. Some wandered in desert wastes, finding no way to an inhabited town. Hungry and thirsty, their soul fainted within them. Then they cried to the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them from their distress. He led them by a straight way until they reached an inhabited town. The daily reading actually continues again in verse 33 up to 37. I thought I'd just stick with these verses. They're reminding me of my my coming to this area. So I am currently living and minister in Tucson, Arizona. Tucson is about 2 hours south of Phoenix in the Sonoran Desert. It is quite hot, and just about anywhere that you see is literally desert. A wilderness, not like the Sahara Desert, but a distinct desert, a wilderness that is dry, not very many trees, shrubs, desert shrubs, and the such. What caught my eye was on my visit here, we had a meeting here to determine and to discern whether or not I would receive appointment to this area. We had arrived at night on a plane, and as we were driving around, it was so utterly dark. And not only was it dark, it just didn't seem like there was anyone that was here. We had hoped for a better morning, so in the morning we drove around, and again, all we saw was just desert landscape. No signs of civilization, no signs of residential areas. It just looked like a vast wilderness. It wasn't just at night, it was during the daytime. And my wife and I turned to each other and we thought, who lives here? Could we even live here? Was a question that we were wrestling with. The meeting, of course, turned really positive, and I've been here for 6 years now. And it's so funny because I will go back to that same area where I thought was really dark and no one lived there. There's so much life there. there are so many homes, so many things to do and see. It was just out of vision. I was reminded of that as I was reading this scripture. Some wandered in desert wastes, finding no way to an inhabited town, and then later the Lord delivered them, led them by a straight way until they reached an inhabited town. If you think that somehow God leads us to a future that is so so far different from the one reality that we are in, where we are in trouble, that certainly that can happen. But I've often found God leading us to find life, to find God's grace and mercy right where we are. We just didn't see it and didn't know where to look beforehand. And so I want to offer that encouragement that wherever we may be, and we might be crying out to God, asking for help, and surely God will help. And it may not look so different from what you are seeing and what you are experiencing, what your circumstances are right now, but I can tell you it will most certainly be different, because God will make those connections that will reveal to you just the abundant life that is right there. Yeah. One of these days, I want to take you on a trip outside to our desert landscape so that you can see. Right now, all you see is my this office, and this can be located anywhere in the world, I suppose. But the desert landscape does do something to our soul that is difficult to name. But I want to share that kind of experience with you too. But until then, I pray that the peace of God be with you and that you will be well. Take care.